Dolphins fans, what's going on? How's everybody doing today? It's Ben Morgan, Fins Up Network, and we're talking preview, keys to victory, Dolphins versus Bills, Saturday night, NFL Network, another primetime game, a time to get this team in front of a national audience and finally look good. Not a repeat performance of that Chargers game. We don't need that statement time over the Buffalo Bills. But like I do with these videos, I want to hear your top keys to victory as well. So go ahead, drop those in the comments. And I've got one more final preview and prediction video for the week. So if you've got a question that you'd like answered on that video, go ahead, drop that in the comments as well. Let's get things started out right away with number one. We're playing a mobile quarterback. Name is Josh Allen. I think you've heard of him. Last time we played the Bills, he didn't go off, but he did enough damage with his legs. 8 carries, 47 yards. Look what the rest of the team did, though, rushing. Zach Moss was actually next in line, 4 carries, 46 yards, but 43 of those yards came on 1 carry. So 3 carries outside of that for 3 yards, pretty damn good against him. And Devin Singletary, 9 carries, 13 yards. Josh Allen was the guy on the ground. So what did they do in that game, though? Because they didn't get the ground game going with anyone but Josh Allen. They did what the Chargers did to us last week. Josh Allen went 42 of 63 in that game. Remember that game? Remember the lopsided stats in that game? We're going to get to that. But 400 yards, essentially used that short dink and dunk quick passing game as an extension of the running game. 11 different players caught passes for the Bills that game. And that's where Devin Singletary got brought into it. 9 catches, 78 yards. But Josh Allen only averaged 6.3 yards per attempt. We kind of shut down Stephon Diggs as well. 7 catches, 74 yards. That's a decent amount of catches. That's a decent number of yards. But relatively speaking, one of the best wide receivers in the league, I will live with 7 for 74 from Stephon Diggs. But we know what our defensive issue is. The Bills know what the defensive issue is. And that has been stopping mobile quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson goes for 119 against us. Josh Allen goes for 47 against us. Justin Fields goes for 178 against us. The funny thing is, those were very frustrating games. We won all of those games somehow. The crazy thing is, though, they all definitely came down to that last possession. Now, look at this week. We got to factor in the weather. Anticipated snow. It's going to be cold. Anticipated wind. So likely more rush attempts, more designed rushes by the quarterbacks as well. So I've talked about this yesterday. Huge game for Boyer. Have the defense ready to contain Josh Allen. Limit his ability to create with his legs while still containing guys on the outside like Stephon Diggs. Because we know he's a game changer. We know he can ruin a game. I've been watching quite a few Bills games recently. The announcers have been doing these things where they're saying, oh, the defense has done a nice job of taking away Stephon Diggs so far in this game. It never fails. He literally ends up scoring on that possession. So while I hope we contain Stephon Diggs, announcers, if by the random chance you're watching this, don't say a gosh damn thing. Okay? Is that cool? Let's do that. But look at Diggs. 10 touchdowns this year. Scored in 8 of 13 games, 4th in receiving yards in the entire NFL. And I know this point is on containing Josh Allen, but I'm going to give Diggs a shout out as well. Let's move on to number 2. Protect the merchandise. You know what the merch is. The merch is Tua. I don't even need to say that. You already know who the merch is. And we could say this every single game. I try my best to not just make protect Tua, good offensive line play. I try not to make that a point every single week. That could be said every week. I can't let it slide this week. Look at Tua's injury history in the past. Where did it start this year? It started in week 3 with that head back-ish injury against the Buffalo Bills. Now go back to week 2 of last year when he got hit in the ribs and was out for 7-8 weeks, whatever he ended up missing. He's got a bad injury history against the Buffalo Bills. We got to throw it out there. We need to protect Tua. Now we got Teron Armstead, toe injury, pec injury. Now he has a leg issue as well. We've seen Robert Jones. He's done okay so far, but there's a couple of times where he got beat pretty solidly in that game against the Chargers. Brandon Shell has been a little bit hit or miss. Connor Williams has been really good. Robert Hunt has been really good. But we need a healthy Tua to make a playoff push. There's no way around it. Not breaking any news there. Now look at the Bills. No more Von Miller. He went on IR. He's not going to make this game. But did you see what they did last week to the Jets and Mike White? They essentially turned him into a human lawn chair. The dude got folded in half. We don't need to be seeing Tua. We don't need to see that happen to him again. Greg Rousseau, 7 sacks this year. AJ Epinesa, 5.5 sacks this year. And then they've just got a bunch of guys that have sacks sprinkled in. But what I mean by a bunch of guys sprinkled in, they've got edge rushers. They've got interior defensive linemen. They've got safeties. They've got linebackers. They're getting sacks. They're getting production from all over the field. So you got to be alert all times from any single position. Now, we talk a lot about the weather in this game. We're going to have to see if the weather dictates the game plan at all, since 15 to 30 mile per hour winds, that's obviously going to dictate a game plan. So maybe we see more runs. We see more dump offs to the running backs. We see the tight ends more involved. We got to protect Tua, though, for the obvious reasons. And you know what they are. It's the health, it's the execution of the offense, and it's preventing turnovers. We cannot give a team like the Bills at home in December extra possessions. It's not going to work out well for us. So along with an improvised offensive game plan comes the importance of protecting Tua. Like I said, I'm not breaking any news there, but I needed to include that this week. I wouldn't have been doing it justice if I didn't. The last key that I have is flip the script. So remember the last time we played the Bills, like I said, week 3? I'm going to rattle off some stats here. I'll make it quick, but every stat that I give, I'm starting with the Dolphins side of that stat. First downs, 15 to 31, doubled us. Total plays, 39 to 90, more than doubled us. Total yards, 212 to 497, more than doubled us. Time of possession, 19 and some change to 40 and some change, doubled us. Now, I'm not saying we need to match what Buffalo did to us, but keeping the offense on the field longer, especially than what we have the last 2 weeks against the Chargers, against the 49ers, giving the defense a little bit of a break, a much needed break in a lot of these instances, especially on a short week. Keep in mind, it's a short week. We're coming from the West Coast to the East Coast with one less day, obviously playing this on Saturday. And you know how many defensive snaps we played last week? 78 against the Chargers. So it wasn't like it was a short workload for them. And now we're coming off of a short week. So that's going to go a long ways, basically in attempting to limit one of the league's best offenses and keep this game within reach, keep it within striking distance so that come the fourth quarter, because I don't see us blowing the Bills out in this game by any means. Keep it close. Give us a chance to win it at the end. Because if you look back to that last time we played, Tua threw the ball 18 times. We ran the ball 17 times. In that entire game, we had 8 possessions. We scored on 3 of them. We needed to be pretty damn efficient with our drives. But in this game, we've got to sustain drives. We got to keep the Bills' offense off the field. Hopefully establish a run game. If that is part of Mike McDaniel's game plan this week, establish the run game. And I think considering the weather, that will be something that we're trying to do. But we just absolutely cannot have these crazy discrepancies once again in these stats, because if you look at historically teams with the box score of what we had in that week 3 game against the Bills, you're losing that game more often than not. That was a hell of a win for this team. But I'm here to tell you, those wins do not come often. Keep that time of possession closer to like a 50-50 range. Give yourself an opportunity to go into Buffalo and leave with a win, a much needed win, considering where we are in the playoffs, considering to where we were in the playoffs about 3 weeks ago. But that is what I've got for my top keys to victory. But like I said, I want to hear yours as well. So go ahead, drop those in the comments. And if you got any questions for that final preview and prediction video, drop those in the comments as well. I'm going to be getting to as many of those as possible leading up to that Dolphins-Bills Saturday night game. But that's what I've got for today, Dolphins fans. And until next time, fins up.